Boom.
Do a rendition of the Europa League.
How does that even go again? It's like,
I don't know.
no, I was going to do. I was going to do darts.
That would be better.
Yeah.
Welcome back, guys. It's Europa League final time. Roz is on for the biggest hate watch of his life. Spurs versus Man United. Is there a way both teams can lose?
Come on, that would be a dream. Did I tell you about my hate watch the other night when so we lost the first leg of the Champions League to PSG, and then the next night was Spurs
Versus Bodo.
and Man United Bilbao and Chelsea against whoever they were playing, and they all won like 3-4-0, and I was like, this is dead.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about those.
I mean, it is... How have we got to a point where Spurs and United sitting at the foot of the Premier League table, bar the relegation zone, are going to qualify for the Champions League? One of them is going to be in next season's Champions League.
It's a travesty. It's a travesty. English football do be stinking, but also do be stinking rich.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs have sort of floated their way through to the final without too much sort of strife. I mean, I think Frankfurt was a bit of a difficult game, but they seem to have overcome everyone. I mean, if you're drawing Bodo Glimt, no offence, in the semi-finals, you're pretty happy, aren't you?
Yeah, because they were making it out like that was a hard game. Oh, you got to go to the Arctic Circle, play on
AstroTurf.
Who gives a fuck, mate? You're a better squad of footballers. You should be rolling these lot over.
Yeah, and I mean, Man United made it a bit more difficult. I mean, we'll talk about the comeback in Lyon. That's pretty... I mean, that was a great game.
That was actually nuts, yeah.
And then two really good performances against Athletic Bilbao. So they find themselves in the final. And between you and me, I can't pick a winner.
No, neither can I. It's... What's that meme of two...
You can't say that.
You can't say that, but two idiots fighting.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones where... Yeah, they've stumbled their way to the final. And one team is going to get the biggest plaster on this gash season.
Get out on a shirt, mate.
Come on. So yeah, 16th and 17th in the Premier League right now. Check out our last video where we talk about the Premier League and how these two teams, 17 losses in the league, 20 losses in the league. But their European form is so much better. Spurs 5-1 aggregate win in the semi. Man United 7-1 aggregate win in the semi.
Yeah, and to be fair, like both the teams they beat, well, Bilbao aren't a pushover. I wouldn't say they've got good players. No. I know Inaki Williams and Nico Williams missed the second leg.
Yeah. And they've got Oiken Sanchez as well, who missed the second leg. I think he missed both of them actually. Who's a bit of a baller.
But yeah, I mean, going into this, you probably maybe be swaying more to Man United. But looking at their recent sort of meetings, Spurs definitely have the advantage.
Yeah, I do agree. I'd say both of them in peak form, I'd pick Spurs. But Man United are my go-to for this final. I think in terms of European trophies, been there, done that. Man United, Spurs, not so much. I think the whole Spurs don't win trophies in their trophy drought will play a bit of a part. Maybe Ange always winning a trophy in his second year might counteract that. Who knows? But I think Man United, they've got players that have been there, done that, won trophies. Like Andre Onana fucking won one for Ajax against Man United. So it's funny, but Bruno Fernandes has won trophies.
Yeah, I mean...
Casemiro.
Man United have seen success in the Europa League in the past.
Yeah.
Spurs have seen no success for a very long time. So it's going to be an interesting one. I can imagine it's going to be quite cagey. Although I think both teams' style of football, if you can even say Man United have one, will lend itself to a good final to watch. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of mistakes. It'd be interesting to see if Spurs is quite as gung-ho as they have been throughout their tenure with Ange Postecoglou. But I think you've got like Spurs' inability to defend against Man United's inability to score. Although you wouldn't suggest that looking at their 7-1.
But no, I do agree.
Leg. But it will be interesting. I think, like you say, Man United have more of those players, more of the experience. You know, you've got the Harry Maguire being to not Champions League, Euros finals, 2 Euros finals. I mean, he's been there about FA Cup finals, whatever.
Casemiro's won it all.
Casemiro's, I mean, what hasn't he won?
Exactly. Bruno Fernandes.
He's been here, there, everywhere. I mean, they've got real
and I think they've got like
at the core of their team.
And I'd say more like game winners, like Casemiro, Harry Mags.
People who step up.
Yeah, whereas Spurs are probably a better cohesive unit.
I mean, they've got Christian Romero back, won everything apart from the Premier League. You've got the likes of...
I think Spurs have a bit of an injury crisis. I've seen Kulusevski's out. I think Maddison's out.
Yeah, Maddison's out. It's a big loss.
I think Man United have only lacking Yoro and De Ligt, I think. I don't know. It'll be a weird one. Who are you picking?
Yeah, I think...
What are you saying for the final? What's your prediction?
I think I'm slightly leaning towards Man United. I think that turnaround in Lyon has got them looking at this competition in a different way.
It was a great turnaround.
And so I think we saw that in their performance against Bilbao.
Yeah.
Where when they're playing this competition, they seem to be playing with a bit more belief that that trophy lies for them at the end of the road. But then again, I mean, Spurs can hurt them, really. Like, you know, Solanke is picking up a few goals here and there. Brendan Johnson's having a fairly underrated season, in my opinion. And Spurs pretty much have their full strength back line back.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be interesting. I think it's going to come down to big players on both teams. If Bruno Fernandes decides that he's winning that trophy, I don't think there's a lot that Spurs can do about it.
It's true. I think he is the man.
And I don't think Spurs have a player like that, apart from Maddison.
And he's not even at the levels,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's what will be the difference. So I am leaning more towards a Man United win. I'm not sure who this trophy is bigger for. Man United, the bigger club. So finishing where they are in the league without any sniff of European football next season would be problematic.
Mm-hmm.
For Spurs, I think it's slightly less problematic. Still a problem, but it would give them sort of no question. We're getting rid of Ange, get someone else in. They don't have to worry about European football. They can just focus on domestic trophies and the league and sort of build up again.
It's a very good point, yeah.
But they haven't won a trophy in a very, very, very long time.
Facts.
You can't have any more of this Spurs
bottle
trophy left at this FC.
Yeah.
Trophy cabinet will no longer be empty.
Mm.
It'll be bare, but not empty.
Harry Kane's trophy cabinet is not empty anymore. Maybe Spurs' trophy cabinet won't be empty.
Are they linked?
Intrinsically.
But, what a word.
Jeez!
Man dropping it intrinsically and plaster over the gash. What do you think?
I'm going Man United. I think it's going to be a Bruno Fernandes masterclass. I think with that midfield looking as light as it does, no Kulusevski, no Maddison, I think there's not going to be anyone in that pocket to kind of mark or kind of counteract Bruno Fernandes. I think he's going to run the show. Going 3-2. Yeah, 3-2 Man United.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an ugly one, but entertaining for the neutral.
It'll be a good watch. We'll go to the pub for it.
Yeah, I think I would like to see a 3-2 after extra time.
Yeah. An extra time job would be nice.
Harry Mags, the full redemption arc.
Yeah, he deserves it. What guy?
But yeah, who's this trophy bigger for?
It's bigger for... as a trophy, it's bigger for Spurs.
Yeah.
But I think the repercussions of not winning it are bigger for Man United.
Yeah, I mean, I think the type of personnel they'll be targeting in the transfer market, if they don't have Champions League football, it just goes from bad to worse.
Yeah.
Whereas no one's coming to Spurs for the Champions League football at the minute. You know, unfortunately, that is the way the cookie crumbles. I think the grand scheme of things, bigger for United, but for Spurs, I think they might want this a bit more.
I was going to say, it just gets rid of that hoodoo, doesn't it? That they can't win trophies, which is such a big thing in football.
Yeah, and I mean, if Ange does have his hands on that trophy, he's won the trophy in the second season, does he stay?
If I was Ange, I'd leave. Go out on a high.
Personally?
Yeah. I delivered what I said I was going to do. Got you a trophy, a European one. Leaving on a high.
I completely agree. I think, you know, if he's coming, he's met his remit.
He'd be Chelsea's best manager. Spurs' best manager. We won't be talking about Chelsea and their European final because that trophy doesn't even count.
Apart from your West Ham.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, he'd be Spurs' biggest manager in probably about 50 years.
Redknapp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the ideal opportunity for him, But then it does bring up the questions. He's won us a trophy. Can he do it again? So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, I can't see either team really going out and smashing the other one.
No.
I don't think either team has the capability of doing it. It's going to come down to the key players. I think the key players you're looking at, probably Romero, Spurs. If he has a real masterclass performance, maybe he can hold United off and just rely on them, capitalising on a United mistake at the back. It happens. Or it's going to be a Bruno Fernandes masterclass, and there's not really much you could do when he's in that sort of vein of form.
Let's move on to the real final. Champions League, 31st of
Didn't know
May
you wanted to talk about
in
it.
Munchen. PSG versus Inter Milan. What a final.
Talk about, before we go into the final?
We'll talk about semis.
Oh my bloody gosh.
Well, I think that's why any of the final options would have been good.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Inter, Arsenal, Barca, PSG, Barca, whoever it would have been. Those final four were a good final four. And we saw that because of...
Arguably, if Arsenal were in the final, it would probably be worse than any of the other lineups. I think Arsenal play the deadest football out of all of them.
We were all right. Allow us, man. But yeah, Opta, before the semis started, it was like a 20... Like I mentioned this in the last European video. It was like a 25 split amongst all the teams to win. And that's what you like to see when you're going into a European semis. All to play for, all at a level. You don't want fucking some dickhead team and then like Real Madrid and blah, blah. That's us and Real Madrid.
Dortmund, Real Madrid.
Us and Real Madrid.
Dortmund, Real Madrid. It's just
Yeah,
like 4-0 after like 10 minutes.
So yeah, it was always going to be a good final, and the semis were great as well. Obviously, our first one against PSG, we lost 1-0, but it was a good game, sad game. And then the next night, wallahi, Barca versus Inter Milan, both legs. What an absolute show. Let's talk about it.
I mean, what was the score after the first leg?
3-3.
3-3, going to Milan for the second leg.
And that finished 4-3.
And every time it could have possibly been a twist, there was a twist.
2-0 up Inter Milan in the Nunu camp.
Cruising as well.
Cruising.
I mean, Barcelona, it looked like their back four just hadn't shown up.
Which is pretty much a recurring thing.
And they couldn't get Yamal or Rafinha on the ball at all.
That's what I looked at that Barca team and I was like, if we get them in the final and we defend cohesively, we will beat this team because their defensive unit is suicide. It's like Ange on steroids, mate.
It's non-existent.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch how the centre-back's position, and it's like if Carlos Puyol was watching that, he'd be rolling in his grave.
In his grave of aliveness.
Of aliveness, yes.
But yeah, it's mad. But luckily, they just got... I think what Barcelona, and they've had this for years, they've just got actual footballers. Like a lot of teams, I think Arteta is kind of guilty of doing this a little bit, where you just get athletes. And you haven't got many Joga Bonito, Tiki-Taka ballers, mate.
The innate footballers.
Exactly.
The people who play for the love of the game.
It's bang on that. Barcelona got too many of them. They've got them at fucking centre-back. That's why their defensive unit doesn't even work. Because these dons just want to fucking play in the midfield and do whatever. They've got... So obviously, Yamal, Rafinha, Pedri, mamma mia, what a player. He's so underrated. Because obviously it's the Yamal show, but Pedri...
I don't know if he is underrated. I think he had a bit of a fall-off. Like, his initial burst onto the scene was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, the next Xabi, or is he
he got
Iniesta?
rinsed, didn't he? He was like... So, Yamal played 100 games already at 17, which is... We talk about that. It's actually a problem. But Pedri was pretty much the same, playing like full games and then go to Euros or whatever for Spain. And he was getting rinsed. That fucking... Cabra where he goes past him and his eyes.
Yeah, he just looked like he hadn't stopped playing
mate,
football.
Yeah, it's rough. But then he got a couple of injuries, but now he's back. And
that's why his stock fell a little bit.
He's playing at an elite level again, and him in that midfield, good God, Frankie de Jong, another player that just so good on the ball. Yeah, they've got a lovely little team going on there. And when they turned it on, Inter Milan panicked a little bit. Yamal getting the ball on the right-hand side, dragging about 3 man to him. And
no one could tackle him.
He's mental.
You watch him play, yeah, and I don't even think when Messi played, the ball stuck to his boot like that. He does this little like shift with the ball anytime someone comes near him, and you know he's going to do it, but no one can get the ball off him.
Also, he's stocky. Like, I was watching the match, and I think it was like Rio was saying, "Oh, he's got to bulk up a little." I was like, he's already pretty big.
I mean, he holds off defenders like.
I was going to say,
like in Bastoni.
Yeah,
He's like a man mountain. So yeah, it was an interesting game, and just like neither team really put on a defensive masterclass.
Which is weird because I expected Inter Milan.
I thought that's how they would win it.
Yeah, but maybe it's just compliments to Barcelona and how they attack that they managed to kind of disrupt that defense.
I know they were on for like being the top scoring goal in the competition's history. But I don't know whether they achieved it or not. But yeah, going up against Inter, I thought, like you said, Inter's remit, the way that they were going to win this would be through solid defensive performances, taking advantage of Barcelona's ridiculously poor defending. But they just went for we're going to outscore you.
Yeah, they went for the punch for punch, blow for blow kind of vibe, and
it came out on top.
Both. So it's weird because like you've got to compliment Barcelona for coming back from 2-0 down both times, but then you've also got to compliment Inter Milan for
not capitulating.
Yeah, like if you were 2-0 up and then concede 2, a lot of teams would then go on to lose that tie because the momentum is so in the other team's favour.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot for Inter Milan both times to come out on top.
I mean, just watching the games, the San Siro was obviously like booming, ready to go, like riled up. They went 2-0 up and you thought,
it's done.
Could go have an early night, you know. And then suddenly, you know, Barca get one back and the stadium goes a little bit quieter. And then everyone sort of realises and rallies together and it gets loud again. Then it's 2-2 and the stadium is silenced. And from that point on, you thought, Barcelona are going to fucking blow them out of the water. But every time the questions were asked, Inter responded.
Jan Sommer had a great performance as well.
I mean, how do you concede, what was it, like 6 goals over 2 legs and still probably put in, you know, arguably man of the match performances?
Yeah. It was same as, well, Donnarumma didn't concede, he only conceded 1.
But
both keepers that are going to the final were probably the best players on the pitch.
Yeah, I would agree. And we won't talk about the second leg of the Arsenal-PSG game.
It was sad times.
Fabian Ruiz, what player?
What player, what goal. Although I didn't see it took a deflection.
All right, we will talk about it.
At the time.
Achraf Hakimi, mate. Why is he in the centre-forward position like every time they get up?
Yeah.
He's a nutter.
Yeah, it's just a shame that we didn't have a bit more cojones with the game. Like, it took us... So we had like a really good first 10 minutes. And maybe it all boils down to the fact that we just don't have...
a striker.
...anything going forward apart from Saka. Martinelli, up and down, I like what he does. I will never slander Martinelli.
Just not clinical, is he?
We just need a focal point up top, which we don't have. So maybe it all boils down to that because we had 3 chances in the first 10 minutes. One of those go in.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different game. But we didn't. And then I think the boys were a little bit deflated that we missed those 3 chances. PSG get themselves in the game, and then it's anybody's game. They score, and you're thinking, it's done. We lose. PSG, let's talk about them. What do you think about? So I've highlighted the Neves, Vitinha, Ruiz midfield versus the Barella, Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu midfield.
PSG's midfield
is clear.
I mean, Barella is
a player.
Phenomenal. I think Fabian Ruiz is one of the most underrated footballers in world football. Neves knew how good he is. Vitinha just seems to get better every time he plays. It's... I don't know, but like the way they play, it's Liverpool under Klopp-esque. I think it's so rock and roll. I mean, you see Nuno Mendes, Achraf Hakimi getting so fucking far out the pitch. Like in the transition, it's like 1 second he's on the edge of the box, and then he's suddenly in the box on the other half. I think their midfield 3 have really nice balance. I all technically really good footballers. I think Ruiz is so good at arriving late, and he's also just so good at being that extra man. Vitinha, I think he offers everything.
I think he's so good. He got likened to Luka Modric in one of the games that I was watching, and don't hate the comparisons. He's very good at spraying the passes, but also dictating the game.
Yeah, I
Gets
think
about well.
I just think that is like the most well-balanced midfield that was left in the Champions League at that point. And then going forward, I don't think anyone, well, apart from Barcelona, could compete with Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, Doué, Barcola, whoever they want to play.
Cannot compete.
Yeah, for me, going into this final, Martinez isn't going to be fit, is he?
I don't know. It's a weird one because I didn't think he was going to be fit for the second leg, but he started that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they don't start him. I think they just force him in.
I don't know. Because for me, he could be up there with player of the tournament.
Mm.
But I think PSG are just a much better rounded outfit than Inter Milan for me.
Interesting.
Although I feel like Inter Milan have a bit more of that grit.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. For me, I would like to see Luis Enrique hoist that trophy.
So would I.
I really like his... Obviously, it's a really sad story.
Mm.
But I'd like to see him win it, I think.
Yeah. Get PSG their first ever UCL trophy.
Yeah.
It'd be huge.
But on the other hand, massive love for Italian football, heritage. Seeing Inter lifted wouldn't be a sad one.
That would be their fourth.
Getting back after, losing the final, was it 2 years ago?
City, yeah.
So, yeah, either way, I think we're in for a good final here.
Yeah.
But the Champions League final is always a stinker.
It is always a stinker. You'd hope, like you said, that the semi-finals are anything to go by. And PSG aren't too dissimilar to Barcelona in the sense they both attack really well.
Yeah.
PSG probably got a better defensive unit.
If Barcelona are like 90% attack, 10% defence,
yeah.
PSG are probably like 70-30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you hope there still is goals, but obviously, yeah, like you said, we know that the UCL final is a cagey affair.
Yeah.
But huge one. I'm going to go PSG to do it. I'm going to go PSG 2-1.
I'm going to go Inter 2-1.
Let us know in the comments down below who you're predicting for both finals. The UCL final, PSG Inter Milan, and the Europa League, Spurs versus Man United.
The disparity in quality between those two has never been greater.
Yeah, the Super Cup is going to be a madness.
That's 2-for-1 trophies for the Champions League, wouldn't it?
Yeah, scenes.
Anyway, let us know down below. The European season is coming to a fast yet dramatic end. And we're here for it. It's ball draw. And it's live.
Could have been us.